Before we dive into this story that's sure to move you, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It might seem like a small thing, but that simple action makes a huge difference. It's what keeps this channel going and gives me the strength to keep bringing these stories to you. Now take a deep breath, because what comes next is powerful. It started with a slap that echoed louder than anyone expected. In the middle of a crowded restaurant, a wealthy woman in a red silk dress smacked a trembling waitress across the face. The glass of water the girl had spilled barely touched her table, but the humiliation? That soaked through every eye in the room. No one moved. No one spoke, except one man, sitting in the far corner, who slowly rose from his seat, his jaw clenched and his piercing eyes locked on the woman. The waitress couldn't have been more than 20. She was curvy, beautiful in a soft and innocent way, her wide eyes brimming with tears as she held back a sob. Her hands trembled as she reached for the shattered glass. The woman scoffed, adjusting her diamond necklace, her voice sharp, "Next time, stay in your place." But then, that same voice faltered, because the man had stepped between them. Tall, muscular, with a calm fire behind his gaze, he looked down at her and said, "You don't get to speak to people like that. Not here, not today." Everyone turned. Phones rose. Time slowed. "She's just a waitress," the woman hissed. The man's voice, deep and controlled, replied, "She's a human being, and if no one else is going to stand for her, I will." The woman laughed until she realized who he was. Vincent Blake, billionaire heir, disappeared from the public eye 5 years ago, and now defending a waitress like she was royalty. The restaurant fell into stunned silence. The girl just stared at him, her lips trembling, unsure whether to speak or run. Vincent turned to the waitress gently, his voice a low murmur only she could hear. "You don't deserve this. Not today. Not ever." His hand hovered near her shoulder, respectful but reassuring. The girl finally found her voice. "Thank you," she whispered, still shaking. Her name tag read Sophia. Her dark curls framed her delicate face, and despite the pain, there was dignity in her posture. She was used to being invisible, but in that moment, she felt seen. The manager rushed in, red-faced and frantic. "Mr. Blake, I didn't know you were here, sir." Vincent didn't even look at him. "You knew she was being humiliated, and you did nothing." His words hit harder than any slap. The manager stuttered, trying to explain, but Vincent simply said, "Comp her salary for a year. If you can't do that, I will, but she's not coming back to this hell tomorrow." Sophia's eyes widened. I don't understand. Why are you doing this for me?" He looked at her, eyes softened now. "Because once, someone gave me a chance when I had nothing, and it changed my life." The rich woman stormed out in silence, defeated, forgotten. Vincent turned back to his table, leaving Sophia frozen in place. The staff whispered, guests gawked, and somewhere deep inside, Sophia's heart cracked open. Kindness, real, unfiltered kindness, had found her, and she would never be the same again. Sophia sat on the back steps of the restaurant after her shift, the city lights flickering like distant hopes. She replayed the scene in her head over and over, his voice, his eyes, the way he stood up for her like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Who does that for someone like me?" she thought. Her fingers brushed the envelope she found in her locker. No name, just a soft weight. Inside, a check for $10,000. A note scribbled on the back. "Everyone deserves a new beginning. V." That night she walked home through the rain, soaked but radiant. The world hadn't changed. The cracked sidewalks and flickering street lamps were the same. But she had. At home, her little brother Max waited, curled up on the couch. "You're glowing," he said. "Did something good happen?" Sophia smiled, running fingers through his hair. "Maybe," she whispered. "Maybe everything just started changing." Meanwhile, Vincent stared out from his penthouse balcony, lost in thought. The city stretched out below him, glittering and cold. His past tugged at him, the years spent proving he wasn't just a spoiled heir. the betrayal that drove him into hiding, the silence that had become his shield. But tonight, something shifted. That girl, Sophia, reminded him of who he used to be. Small kindnesses can start an avalanche, he murmured to himself, and for the first time in years, he wanted to feel again. The next morning, Sophia was already at the door of a small community college, clutching the check like it might disappear. She hadn't been in a classroom in 3 years, not since her mom got sick and she dropped everything to work double shifts. "I want to enroll," she told the woman at the desk. Her voice trembled, but her eyes didn't. "I don't know if I'm too late, but I have a dream I can't keep ignoring anymore." Later that day, Vincent sat in a discreet cafe in the Arts District, dressed down in jeans and a hoodie. He liked going unnoticed. But that changed when an elderly man shuffled in, his hands shaking as he searched his pockets. The cashier's face was all irritation. "Sir, you're short." Without a word, Vincent stepped forward, handed over a crisp bill, and nodded. "Keep the change." The man looked up, teary-eyed. "Why'd you do that, son?" Vincent smiled faintly. "Because someone once did it for me." Back at the restaurant, rumors of Vincent's appearance spread like wildfire. The manager was fired, the rich woman blacklisted, and Sophia's act of standing tall through it all had made her something of a local legend. But she didn't bask in it. She was focused. On school, on her brother, on making the most of the mysterious second chance she'd been given. Still, every time she passed that corner table in the restaurant where he first stood up for her, her heart whispered a silent thank you. Weeks passed. Sophia was exhausted, juggling work, night classes, and caring for Max, but there was a fire in her she hadn't felt in years. She studied on the bus, read during breaks, and kept a photo of her mom in her notebook as motivation. One night, she got home to find Max holding a math test, grinning. "I got a B!" he shouted. She hugged him tightly, tears in her eyes. "We're both going to make it, Max. I promise you." Vincent, meanwhile, found himself drifting back to the neighborhood near the restaurant more often. Not to be seen, just to feel something again. He watched Sophia once from across the street as she laughed with her brother in front of a food cart. It wasn't attraction. Not yet. It was admiration. She's fighting so hard, he thought. And the world keeps underestimating her. For a man who had everything and trusted no one, that kind of courage was magnetic. Then one afternoon, fate played its hand again. Sophia was hurrying out of school when her heel snapped on the steps. She stumbled, books flying, papers scattered. A hand reached out, firm, steady, and caught her. "Careful," a deep voice said. She looked up. Those eyes, that voice. "Vincent, you," she breathed. "What are you doing here?" He smiled slightly. "Maybe I was hoping I'd run into you." Sophia stood frozen for a second, her heart thudding in her chest. "You saved me. Again." Vincent bent to pick up her books, handing them over like they were treasure. "I didn't think we'd meet like this," she said softly. He shrugged, eyes locked on hers. "Life's full of strange reroutes. Sometimes they lead exactly where they need to." She laughed nervously, brushing a curl behind her ear. "You talk like a fortune cookie." Vincent grinned. "Only the good ones." They walked together for a while, the city humming around them. She told him about school, about Max, about losing her mother. He listened, really listened, the way no one else ever had. "You're building everything from scratch," he said. "That takes guts." She looked at him sideways. "You talk like someone who's lost something too." Vincent hesitated, then nodded. "I lost my father, and myself. For a while." Their silence wasn't awkward. It was deep, safe, like two people who saw past the noise. At the corner near her building, she turned to him. "Thank you. For the money. For the moment. For seeing me." He shook his head. "I didn't save you, Sophia. You did that yourself." She smiled, heart fluttering. "Still, you gave me momentum." Then she pointed to the tiny diner on the corner. "There's good coffee in there. Come back tomorrow at 6. If you're not scared of strong women with stronger opinions." He chuckled. "I've faced CEOs and reporters. I think I can handle you." The next evening, the bell above the diner door jingled softly. Sophia was already there, in a fitted burgundy top that hugged her curves and dark jeans that flattered every step. Her hair was down, her lips glossed with subtle confidence. Vincent entered. Simple black shirt, sleeves rolled, forearms sculpted like a statue, heads turned. They looked like a scene out of a movie, but to them, it felt quiet, natural, real. They talked for hours about dreams, failures, the cost of chasing purpose. Sometimes I wonder, Sophia said, if I'm brave or just desperate. Vincent leaned closer, eyes glowing. Desperation is just courage that's been pushed too far. Either way, it's still brave. She blinked. That line stayed with her. He made her feel not just seen, but understood. Like maybe she wasn't surviving. She was becoming. At the end of the night, he walked her home. Neither wanted the evening to end. "Vincent," she asked at her door, "why me? Why did you help me that day?" He looked at her for a long beat. "Because I saw someone fighting alone, and I know how that feels. It's not pity, it's recognition." Her throat tightened. She wanted to say more, but instead she whispered, "Good night." He hesitated, then kissed her hand gently. "For now," he said, and walked away. Days passed, then weeks. Vincent kept coming back, sometimes with coffee, sometimes with silence. He never tried to impress her, never flashed his wealth. He just showed up. Max adored him. Sophia softened around him, and soon the three of them felt like a strange, beautiful, almost family. "It's weird," she said one night. "I keep expecting you to disappear." Vincent looked at her, eyes steady. "People leave when they're unsure. I've never been more certain. But the world wasn't ready to let them be happy so easily." One afternoon, as Sophia walked home from class, a sleek black car pulled up. A woman stepped out, tall, cold, designer-clad. "You're the girl," she said, inspecting Sophia like she was dirt under a shoe. "The one who's distracting Vincent Blake." Sophia stiffened. "I don't know who you are." "Oh, but I know you, and I'm warning you. Stay in your lane, sweetheart. You have no idea who you're dealing with." That night, Sophia didn't answer Vincent's calls. She lay awake staring at the ceiling, heart pounding. He's from a different world, a dangerous one. But when he knocked at her door the next morning, panic in his voice, she opened it. "Sophia? What's wrong? You vanished." She tried to lie. "I was busy." He grabbed her hand. "No, look at me. Tell me what happened." Her voice cracked. "Someone came. She said, I'd ruin you." His expression turned to steel. "No one ruins me. But if they threaten you, they've already declared war." Vincent didn't sleep that night. Rage simmered beneath his calm. He knew exactly who had sent the message. Claudia, his family's lawyer and longtime puppet master. She always thought she could control him, shape his image, dictate his future. But this time, she crossed a line. "If they want war," he muttered, pacing his penthouse, "they'll get it." Then he called his assistant. "Schedule a press interview. I'm going public. With everything." The next day, the headlines exploded. "Vincent Blake breaks silence, declares love for former waitress." Cameras swarmed. The media spun. But the interview clip went viral. "She reminded me of who I was before money corrupted everything. She's not a scandal. She's my anchor." Meanwhile, Sophia sat frozen in her apartment, hand over her mouth. Max screamed, "You're famous!" But fame wasn't what terrified her. It was love. Because now everything had changed. Within hours, Claudia showed up at Vincent's office, livid. "You just tanked your legacy for a girl with nothing." He didn't flinch. "I'd rather lose fake power than real connection." "You'll regret this," she hissed. He stood, shoulders broad, voice firm. "No, Claudia. You'll regret underestimating the only thing that's ever mattered." Then he walked past her, phone in hand, calling Sophia. "Meet me. There's something I need to ask you face to face." Sophia met him in the park where they'd first walked together. She wore a long flowing dress that clung to her curves in the breeze, her eyes shining with nervous fire. Vincent stood beneath the old oak tree, a quiet storm in black. When she approached, he didn't waste a second. "I'm not asking you to fix me," he said. "I'm asking if you'll build something with me, something real." Her breath caught. "Are you proposing?" He smiled. "Not yet, but I'm asking if I can start earning the right to." She laughed through tears. "You don't have to earn anything, Vincent. You already gave me the most powerful thing anyone's ever given me, belief." He stepped closer, brushing her cheek. "And you reminded me that love isn't weakness. It's freedom." As they kissed, slow and certain, the world around them blurred. Two people from opposite lives, bound not by circumstance, but by choice. But just as peace settled, chaos returned. A viral video surfaced of Claudia, secretly recorded, threatening Sophia's safety. Public outrage ignited. Protesters lined the gates of Vincent's company. Within 48 hours, Claudia was forced to resign. Vincent stood before his board, eyes blazing. "If this company stands for power over people, I want no part of it." Gasps filled the room. "I'm starting something new, something human." And just like that, the empire began to shift. Weeks later, a modest but elegant new building opened in the heart of the city. Its name, the Second Step Foundation. A safe haven for people like Sophia once was. Vincent poured his energy into it, leaving behind boardrooms and luxury jets for classrooms, housing programs, and job training. Sophia was by his side at every launch, radiant, respected, and real. "This isn't charity," she told the press. "This is what love looks like when it grows into action." At home, life became beautifully simple. Mornings were coffee and laughter. Evenings were cooking with Max, who now called Vincent Big V and insisted he help with homework. One night, as the three of them curled up on the couch, Vincent looked at Sophia. "You saved me, you know." She laughed. "You keep saying that, but I'm the one who was falling apart." He leaned in, voice soft. "Then maybe we saved each other." Then came the final turning point. At a small rooftop gathering with friends and supporters, Vincent stood to speak. He held Sophia's hand in his, the sunset glowing behind them. "We talk a lot about legacy," he began. "But mine isn't money. It's her. It's him. It's all of you." He turned to Sophia. "I once disappeared from the world to find peace, but I found it in your eyes." Dropping to one knee, he pulled out a ring. "Sophia, will you be my forever?" Sophia gasped, tears rushing to her eyes before her voice could. The crowd held its breath, the city glowing behind them like a dream. She dropped to her knees, too, laughing through sobs. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, 1,000 times yes." Vincent slid the ring onto her finger, and they kissed. Not as a billionaire and a waitress, but as two people who had chosen each other over everything else. The applause was thunderous, but for them, time stood still. Months later, a viral video showed their wedding, simple, elegant, overflowing with joy. Sophia walked down the aisle in a dress that shimmered with soft light, Max by her side. Vincent waited, heart on full display. When the vows came, she said, "You saw me when I was invisible. You made me believe I could be more than survival." And he replied, "You taught me that wealth means nothing if you're too scared to feel." Their kiss sealed a promise not just to love, but to grow. The final scene fades in on a new day. The foundation is full of life. Sophia teaches a class of young women, smiling warmly. Vincent builds quietly in the background, sleeves rolled up, hair tousled. Max plays with others, laughing freely. The narrator speaks. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness is the first page in the story that saves you. And the screen fades to black with just one word written: believe. If this story moved you in any way, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Honestly, every like, every subscription is what keeps this channel breathing. Without your support, it's nearly impossible to keep going. So if you can help, know that this only exists because of you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying until the end. I'll see you in the next story.